My name is Ethan Miller, 29 years old, and until last November, I never believed in ghost stories. I didn't believe in demons. I didn't believe in haunted houses. And I definitely didn't believe people could exist in two places at the same time. If you're listening to this, I need you to understand something. Everything I'm about to tell you actually happened to me. I still have the police report. My employer still has the security footage proving where I was that night. And somewhere on an old hard drive, there's a video that nobody has ever been able to explain. It started on ika-labing-walo ng Nobyembre, 2023. I worked the night shift as a systems engineer for a software company in downtown Pittsburgh. The job was boring. Most nights I spent 12 hours staring at monitors, waiting for something to break. Around 11:30, almost everyone had already gone home. Only 3 of us remained in the building. Me, my coworker Daniel Brooks, and the overnight security guard Frank. Outside, it had been raining for hours. Not a heavy storm, just the kind of cold autumn rain that never seems to stop. The office windows were completely black. You couldn't see the city anymore, only your own reflection. I remember checking my phone. A las 11:42 n Hagabi. Rachel, my younger sister, had sent me a picture of her new puppy. I laughed, replied with a heart emoji, and went back to work. 30 seconds later, my phone vibrated again. This time it wasn't a text message. It was a notification from my home security system. Motion detected. Front door camera. He frowned. Nobody should have been there. I lived alone. I opened the app without thinking much about it. Probably another delivery driver. Or maybe a neighborhood cat. The live feed loaded. At first, nothing. Just rain falling across the porch light. Then someone walked into view. A man wearing my dark gray jacket. Same height. Same build. Same backpack. He stopped directly in front of the camera and looked straight into the lens. My stomach dropped. It was me, not someone who looked similar, not someone with the same clothes. It was my face, every detail, every scar, even the tiny cut above my right eyebrow from a bicycle accident when I was 14. The man reached into his pocket, pulled out a key, unlocked my front door, and calmly walked inside. I froze. For several seconds, I couldn't breathe. Daniel noticed. "You okay?" I turned my monitor toward him. "Tell me what you see." He leaned closer. His smile disappeared immediately. "Dude, that's you." "I know." "No, seriously. That's literally you. But you're sitting right here." Neither of us spoke for almost 10 seconds. Then I refreshed the camera. The porch was empty. I switched to the living room camera. The man was standing perfectly still in the middle of my living room. He wasn't moving. He wasn't looking around. He was simply standing there, facing the hallway, like he was waiting for someone. A strange feeling crept over me. Not fear. Not yet. It felt more like my brain refusing to process what my eyes were seeing. Daniel whispered, "Call the police." He nodded without taking my eyes off the screen. 911 answered after the second ring. 911, what's your emergency? He hesitated. How was I supposed to explain this? I think someone broke into my house. The operator asked if I knew the suspect. I stared at the screen. Yes. Silence. We know exactly who he is. Can you identify him, sir? I swallowed. It looks exactly like me, the operator paused. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Before I could answer, the figure moved. For the first time since entering the house, he slowly turned his head, not toward the hallway, not toward the kitchen, toward the security camera. He smiled. A slow, unnaturally calm smile. Then he raised one finger and pointed directly at the camera. My phone screen suddenly went black. The connection had been lost. For the first time that night, I realized something was terribly wrong. I kept staring at the black screen. No signal. No error message. Just complete darkness. Try the other cameras, Daniel said. My hands were shaking so badly that I almost dropped my phone. I switched to the backyard camera. Nothing. Offline. Garage camera. Offline. Kitchen. Offline. Every single camera had gone dark at the exact same moment. Daniel looked at me. You still have internet? I checked. Full signal. Everything else on my phone worked perfectly. Only my security system had disappeared, almost as if someone had unplugged it from inside the house. The 911 operator was still on the line. Sir, officers have been dispatched. Please remain where you are. Do not return to your residence until they arrive. I understand. After hanging up, I tried calling my own phone. It rang once. Then twice. Then someone answered. Neither Daniel nor I said a word. I waited. Listening. Static. A faint crackling sound, almost like an old cassette tape. Then I heard breathing, slow, steady, calm. I whispered, "Hello?" The breathing stopped. For 2 seconds, there was absolute silence. Then a voice spoke. My voice. Perfectly identical. It quietly said, "I'm already home." The call ended. Neither of us moved. Daniel slowly lowered his coffee cup onto the desk. I heard that, so I'm not crazy. No. He swallowed hard. You're definitely not crazy. Within minutes, the office felt different. The fluorescent lights seemed dimmer. Every reflection in the glass made me uncomfortable. Every shadow looked deeper than before. Frank, the security guard, noticed something was wrong and walked over. You boys okay? Daniel didn't even try to explain. He simply handed Frank my phone. Frank watched the recording from the front door. He frowned, then replayed it. Again. And again. Finally, he looked up. I don't like this. Why? I've worked security for 20 years. I've seen edited footage. I've seen fake videos. This isn't either. He zoomed in on the man's face. Every movement looked natural. Every blink. Every breath. Every tiny muscle in the cheeks. It wasn't a recording. It looked like a live person. Except that person was supposed to be sitting beside us. At exactly 11:58 p.m., another notification appeared. Motion detected. Bedroom camera. The camera was somehow back online. I opened it immediately. The bedroom lights were off. Only the pale glow of moonlight entered through the curtains. For a moment, the room looked empty. Then I noticed him. He was standing in the far corner, completely motionless, facing the wall, his back toward the camera. Daniel whispered, as he moved. "You don't think so?" We kept watching. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Nothing. He didn't breathe. He didn't shift his weight. He simply stood there, facing the wall. Then, without warning, his head tilted. Not naturally. It bent sideways, far beyond what a human neck should allow. Daniel immediately looked away. What the hell? I couldn't. Something forced me to keep watching. The figure remained facing the wall, but I realized something horrifying. His head wasn't turning toward us. It was turning toward the camera, without moving the rest of his body. The neck continued rotating, further, until his face finally appeared, upside down, milling. His lips never opened. His eyes never blinked. He simply stared into the camera, as if he had known we were watching the entire time. The bedroom lights suddenly flickered. 11. Luis. 3 times. Then the camera feed froze. The final frame stayed on my screen. That impossible smile. Those unblinking eyes. And just before the image disappeared, a single sentence slowly appeared across the bottom of the screen. Not typed. Not part of the app. It looked handwritten. as though someone had written directly onto the camera lens. "Don't come home alone." I felt every hair on my arms stand up, because there was one thing I hadn't told Daniel or the police. Earlier that evening, before any of this started, I had received another notification, one that I ignored. Someone had knocked on my front door at exactly a las 10:17 Nagabi. But when I checked the recording, no one was there. The police arrived at my house 12 minutes later. Officer Mark Reynolds was the first to call me. "Mr. Miller." "Yes, we're outside your residence now. The front door is locked. There are no signs of forced entry." I looked at Daniel. Neither of us spoke. "But," Officer Reynolds continued, "we can see footprints on your front porch." "What kind of footprints?" "A post. They're wet, like someone walked through the rain." My heart skipped a beat. It was raining all night. "Exactly. But here's the strange part. The footprints stop at your front door." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "There aren't any leading away. It's as if whoever entered never came back out." I couldn't answer. The officer asked for permission to enter. I unlocked the smart lock remotely through the app. This time, it worked. The front door slowly opened. Officer Reynolds stepped inside with his partner. Both officers had their flashlights drawn. Living room clear. Kitchen clear. Bathroom clear. Every room echoed through the phone speaker. Then, silence. Long enough to make my stomach twist. Finally, Officer Reynolds spoke again. "We're approaching the bedroom." I remembered the smiling face on the camera. "Please, be careful." The bedroom door was half open. One officer pushed it slowly. The old hinges groaned. Inside, the room was empty. No broken windows. No signs of a struggle. Nothing had been stolen. Everything was exactly where I had left it. Almost. Officer Reynolds suddenly stopped walking. "What is it?" I asked. "There are footprints." "Inside?" "Yes. One set. They begin in the hallway and end," he took a slow breath, "under your bed." Daniel looked at me. Neither of us wanted to imagine what that meant. The officers aimed their flashlights beneath the bed. Nothing. No one. Just dust. Old storage boxes. And a small black cell phone. Officer Reynolds picked it up carefully. "It's powered off. It's definitely old. It looks like it hasn't been used in years." I stared at the screen through the video call. "I've never seen that phone before." The officer placed it into an evidence bag. "We'll have our digital forensics team examine it." Just as he sealed the bag, the phone turned itself on. No one touched it. The screen lit up by itself. The battery icon showed 100%. Officer Reynolds frowned. "That's impossible. The device shouldn't even have enough power to start." Then the screen unlocked automatically. No passcode. No fingerprint. Just one folder. Its name was simply Videos. There was only one file inside. The timestamp read, Ika-labingwalo ng Nobyembre, 2017. Exactly 6 years earlier. Officer Reynolds looked at his partner. "I'm going to play it." The video opened. At first, the screen was completely dark. Then a flashlight clicked on. Someone was walking through my house. The breathing sounded nervous. The camera slowly turned toward the hallway, toward my bedroom. Toward the same room the officers were standing in now. The person behind the camera whispered, "I think he's asleep." Officer Reynolds froze. "So someone filmed inside your house years ago?" "I don't know. I never lived there in emergency." Then the flashlight reached the bedroom door. The room came into view. A young man was sleeping in my bed. Officer Reynolds looked confused. "Mr. Miller, do you know this man?" He leaned closer. I leaned closer. Every drop of blood drained from my face. It wasn't someone who looked like me. It wasn't a relative. It wasn't even someone similar. It was me, 6 years younger. sleeping peacefully in a house I had never moved into until 2022. Daniel whispered, "No, that's not possible." Officer Reynolds paused the video. The room fell silent. Then something happened that none of us noticed at first. His partner slowly pointed at the paused image. "Mark, look behind the bed." There was a figure, barely visible in the darkness, standing in the exact semi-corner where the security camera had recorded the smiling man earlier that night. Tall, motionless, watching. Officer Reynolds zoomed in. The image became grainy, but one detail remained perfectly clear. The figure wasn't looking at the younger version of me. It was looking directly at the person holding the camera. And just before the old recording ended, the figure quietly raised one hand. Not to wave, not to attack. Just one slow finger, pointing straight toward the lens. The video suddenly cut to black. One sentence appeared in white letters. "It finally came back." Officer Reynolds immediately looked at the evidence bag. The phone screen was dark again, as if nothing had ever happened. I didn't know it then. But that phone wasn't showing us the past. It was warning us about what was going to happen next.